The city lights blurred into streaks of amber and white beyond the car window. Adrian watched them, his knuckles pale where they gripped the steering wheel. The scent of his cologne, a sharp, clean cedar, was heavy in the confined space, a deliberate armor. He'd spent the evening in a tailored suit, shaking hands in a penthouse that smelled of old money and ambition, accepting hollow congratulations for a promotion he hadn't wanted. His father's empire was now his burden. All he could think about was the man in the apartment across town. The one who wouldn't smell the cedar on him. The one who, to Adrian's relentless senses, always carried the faint, ghostly trace of other people, colleagues, strangers, a constant, silent provocation. The key turned in the lock with a soft snick. The apartment was dark, save for the blue glow of a laptop screen on the coffee table. Leo was already home, curled on the sofa with a legal brief, a blanket over his legs. He didn't look up. Adrian didn't bother with the light. He crossed the room in 5 long strides, the silence thick enough to choke on. He caught the flicker in Leo's gray eyes a second before his hands closed on his shoulders, pushing him down into the cushions. "We need to talk," Adrian said, his voice a low rasp. Leo's body went rigid. He stated, his tone flat, that he had nothing to say. He tried to shove against Adrian's chest, but the resistance was futile, a familiar dance. Adrian's laugh held no humor. He'd warned him, hadn't he? He'd said what would happen if he came home smelling like a crowded room, like other lives. He buried his face against the side of Leo's neck, teeth scraping the unmarked skin there. Why did he have to be this way? Why was he the only person Adrian couldn't truly claim, couldn't flood with the proof of his possession? A stifled sound escaped Leo as he turned his head, his breath hot against Adrian's collar. He managed to grit out that this was pointless, that it never worked. "It will," Adrian murmured against his skin, the words a dark promise. He was aware of the frantic beat of Leo's pulse beneath his lips. "It will if I do it often enough." Downstairs, in the sprawling living room of the family estate, the party was a curated spectacle. Crystal glasses clinked. Elena, Adrian's mother, smiled tightly as an old friend squeezed her hand, voice dropping to a confidential whisper. She'd asked, hadn't she, about what kind of partner her son might prefer. Elena confessed that he remained stubbornly closed off on the subject. The friend glanced meaningfully at her own son, a graceful young man sipping champagne by the fireplace. She murmured that with his coming of age, the family hoped to arrange a suitable match before certain biological considerations became urgent. The boy was from a good family, well-connected, an advantageous union. Elena offered a placating smile, promising to inquire again. Around them, other guests laughed, someone asking where the guest of honor had disappeared to. The guest of honor was currently pinning Leo to the bedsheets in the quiet upstairs room, his body a cage of frustrated want. The world outside, with its expectations and alliances, dissolved into static. Leo gasped that it was enough, his fingers twisting in the cotton, tendons standing out in sharp relief. Adrian disagreed, voice thick. It wasn't. It would never be. He wanted to erase every other presence, every other possibility. He wanted to brand him so thoroughly that the very idea of another's touch became laughable. A knock at the door, sharp and impatient, fractured the moment. Leo's struggle became frantic, a hiss that someone was here. Adrian only held him tighter, a smirk playing on his lips. He'd noticed, he remarked, that Leo had showered before coming. As if he'd known. As if he'd wanted this. The door handle rattled. His mother's voice, calling his name, filtered through the wood. In the frantic, silent scramble that followed, Adrian managed to compose himself enough to open the door a crack, blocking the view. His mother's concerned face appeared, asking why he hadn't answered, noting his flushed skin. He brushed her off with a practiced ease, his public mask sliding seamlessly into place. He'd be down shortly. Once the hallway was empty again, he turned back. Leo was already pulling on his clothes, movements stiff. In the dim light, the impressions of Adrian's teeth stood out on his shoulder, a constellation of possessive bruises. A mess, but a beautiful one. Entirely his. Adrian approached, kneeling to help, but was met with a sharp kick to his shin. He didn't mind. He caught Leo's hand, pressing a kiss to the knuckles. He told him he looked best like this. Marked. Then he saw it, the subtle movement, Leo's hand shifting. His expression darkened instantly. He ordered him to leave it. He wanted every potential suitor to sense the claim, even if Leo himself could not. Later, in the thrum of the party, Adrian's eyes found Leo across the room. He was near the French doors, a solitary figure. For a second, their gazes connected, a thread of lightning in the crowded dim. Then Leo looked away, as if it were nothing. The dismissal was a fresh wound. Adrian was pulled into a conversation with his mother on a secluded balcony. She asked if he remembered the young man from earlier, the one with the promising family. He frowned, stating bluntly that he held no interest. Then what did he want? She pressed, her worry evident. He was 27. His drives, his needs, how was he managing them? Her voice softened, suggesting alternatives. Not a traditional match, perhaps, but there were options. Anyone, she implored, as long as it was someone. Adrian's attention was caught by a flicker of movement near a first-floor archway. A shadow slipping out of sight. He answered distractedly that it was none of those. His mother threw her hands up. What then? He couldn't possibly be telling her he wanted a crash from the service hallway. The shatter of porcelain swallowed her final word. She spun around, but the corridor was empty. When she turned back, Adrian was already gone. The drive to Leo's apartment was a fury of speed and streetlights. He pounded on the door, his voice echoing in the quiet hallway. He gave him to the count of 3. The door opened on 2. Adrian pushed inside, backing Leo against the wall, the lock engaging with a definitive click. He remarked that he always responded better to force. Leo demanded to know what he was doing, his voice still rough from earlier. Adrian didn't answer. He inhaled at his throat, at the hollow behind his ear. The trace of his own cologne was fading, overlaid with the cloying, sweet scent of something floral. Perfume. Rage, hot and sour, bloomed in his chest. His hand slipped under Leo's shirt, fingers pressing possessively against the small of his back. He knew then. He knew with a certainty that burned. He'd warned him. He covered Leo's mouth with his hand, cutting off any protest. He told him he was beautiful, like this unraveling because of him. Leo's nails dug into his arm, sharp points of pain that only fueled the fire. Adrian carried him to the bedroom, the world narrowing to the heat between them, the frantic push and pull, a battle where surrender was the only ceasefire. After, as dawn bled gray at the windows, Adrian watched Leo sleep. The anger had bled away, leaving a raw, aching tenderness. He remembered the first time, years ago. A rainstorm. They'd been teenagers, sheltering under a bus stop awning. Leo, eyes red from grit, glaring at him. Adrian, acting on an impulse he didn't understand, had kissed his damp eyelid. The taste of salt, the shock on Leo's face. The feeling that he'd found something he'd been searching for without knowing it. The memory was interrupted by the blare of an alarm. Leo woke, and before he could move, Adrian pulled him close again. Leo's muffled protest came from within the blankets, accusing him of being insatiable. Adrian simply kissed him, a slow, deep claim. He promised he wouldn't move. It was a lie they both recognized. When Leo finally pushed him away, citing work, Adrian let him go, a familiar smile touching his lips. The two phrases Leo had thrown at him most often in their youth echoed in his mind. Don't follow me. Stay away. He always followed. At the law firm, Leo was assigned a new intern, a young man named Eli. He moved through the office with a nervous energy, uncomfortable amidst the aggressive, competing signatures of cologne that the other lawyers wore like uniforms. The senior partner, unable to refuse the intern's well-connected family, placed him with Leo, the only one whose presence was neutral ground. Eli confessed, during a painfully awkward coffee break, that his mother thought Adrian might favor legal types. He was here to learn the mannerisms. Leo asked, his voice carefully, even if Adrian knew about this. Eli shrugged, admitting he wasn't sure. But his scent was appealing, he added with a naive confidence. Most would find it hard to resist. Leo simply nodded, a cold stone settling in his gut. That evening, he returned home to find the lights on. Adrian was waiting, an edge to his stillness. He commented on Leo's hurry to shower, a suspicion darkening his gaze. Leo moved quickly, but Adrian was faster, pinning him on the couch, burying his face in his shirt. He recoiled, asking what the cloying, sweet smell was. Had someone at the office had an episode? Leo tried to explain about the new intern, but Adrian was already tearing at his clothes, the fabric giving way. He was furious, accusing him of letting another touch him, of being disloyal. The accusation was so wildly off base, so infused with Adrian's own jealousy, that Leo finally snapped. He fought back, landing a solid punch to Adrian's jaw. He shouted that it was all Adrian's fault, his constant smothering suspicion. In a fit of pique, Leo grabbed his phone and dialed, putting it on speaker. Eli's cheerful voice answered. Leo demanded he repeat why he was at the firm. Confused, Eli reiterated he was there to learn, for Adrian's sake. As the name Eli left the speaker, recognition flashed in Adrian's eyes. The Omega his mother kept mentioning. The fight drained out of him, replaced by a chagrined shock. He snatched the phone, growling a threat to leave Leo alone before ending the call. The silence that followed was heavy. Adrian, still holding him, was suddenly unsure. Leo glared, his anger a cold flame. He stated that the contact had been incidental, that Adrian's imagination was his worst enemy. Adrian didn't argue. He just held him tighter, murmuring into his skin that he needed him to smell only of him. That he needed a sign, any sign, that he was his. Later, Adrian visited his mother. He told her to stop the matchmaking. She was exasperated, listing Eli's qualities. What was wrong with him? He had no standard, he said, because he already had everything he wanted. His mother looked at him with profound worry, speaking of the difficulties he faced, the painful cycles he endured without a partner to anchor him. She reminded him of a terrible night years before, when a sudden episode had turned him violent, the overwhelming force of his biology a prison. The staff had to hold him down for an injection. Afterwards, he'd stumbled, not to his own room, but to the one Leo used to occupy, seeking solace in the empty, scentless space. The memory was a ghost between them. That night, driven by a deep, restless need, Adrian went to Leo's apartment. He watched him sleep, the same fierce longing from his youth surging back. He just wanted him to look at him, to need him. Leo woke to find him there. His first words were the same as they'd been nearly a decade ago. A tired, angry command to get off. Adrian simply smiled. He wasn't going anywhere. Another struggle ensued, a physical argument that left them both breathless and bruised. As Leo dressed for work, Adrian called out a question that had haunted him for years. He asked him if he loved him. Leo paused at the door, his back tense. He didn't answer. The click of the lock was his reply. Weeks passed. Adrian was called away on business. In his absence, a scandal rippled through their social circle. Eli, the Omega, had been discovered with a beta companion. His family was outraged. At the office, colleagues gossiped about it. Leo listened, his face pale. He felt a strange dizziness and excused himself early. Returning home, he noticed new neighbors moving into the vacant apartment down the hall. He heard a familiar, laughing voice. Against his better judgment, he looked. It was Eli directing a young man with a moving box. Eli introduced him brightly as his partner, explaining he'd been staying here since his family's disapproval. Leo offered a stiff, awkward word of support before retreating, his heart pounding with a strange, fearful sympathy. When Adrian returned, he found Leo distant, withdrawn. He pulled him close, inhaling deeply, and froze. Beneath the usual soap and skin, there was a new scent. Subtle, biological, undeniable. His voice turned dangerously quiet. He demanded to know where he'd been, who he'd been with. Leo denied everything, turning away. Adrian grabbed him, his control snapping. He accused him of finding someone else. The betrayal in his voice was a living thing. Leo shoved him back, yelling at him to leave. He was tired of the accusations, the constant doubt. Adrian stared at him, the man he'd fought for since he was 17. He told him it always felt like he was the only one fighting, that he was tired of being the only one who cared. He turned and walked out, the door closing with a finality that echoed in the silent apartment. Some time later, on a cold, gray morning, Leo visited the cemetery with his father. They stood before his mother's headstone. His father spoke nostalgically of the past, of how closed off Leo had been after her death, how only Adrian had been able to rouse any reaction from him. He gently prodded about Leo seeing someone, about not being alone. Leo cut him off, suggesting they leave. As they walked, his father took his arm to steady him on the gravel path and stopped short, his physician's instincts alert. He asked, his voice low with shock, if he was expecting. Leo tried to deny it, but his father saw the truth. He asked who the father was, when he could meet him. Before Leo could form a reply, his father's phone rang. The voice on the other end was frantic. Adrian had gone to his parents, declared his intention to bond with a beta, and a violent confrontation had ensued. He was hurt. Leo didn't hear the rest. He was already running, heart hammering against his ribs. His father called after him, demanding to know if this involved Adrian. Leo didn't answer. He just ran, the cold air burning his lungs. He knew they were wrong for each other. A storm and a stone. But he wanted the storm. He always had. He arrived at the estate as the front door flew open. Adrian stumbled out, his shirt stained dark at the abdomen, livid welts visible on his back through torn fabric. His face was ash-white. Leo caught him as he swayed. Adrian leaned into him, a weak, bloody smile on his lips. He whispered that his father had said if he could walk out, he was free. He shouldn't take him back inside. His mother rushed out after them, sobbing, thrusting a medical kit at Leo's father. In the car, Leo held Adrian close, the coppery smell of blood filling the space. His tears fell onto Adrian's hair. He finally confessed, the words tumbling out in a rush, that the scent he detected was from the doctor. He was carrying his child. Adrian's eyes, glazed with pain, found his. He whispered that he'd known. He was sorry. He was always so afraid of losing him. He'd made arrangements, he mumbled, his voice fading, for them to leave, to go somewhere warm where it never snowed. He just needed to know if Leo would keep it. Leo clutched him tighter, kissing his forehead, promising everything, begging him to stay awake. The hospital waiting room was an eternity of bleach and fear. When the doctor finally emerged to say Adrian would recover, Leo's knees nearly gave way. Weeks later, in the quiet of their own apartment, Adrian held him. His wounds healed into pale scars. He spoke of their future, of the places they would see. Leo listened to the steady, strong beat of his heart. He looked up, meeting Adrian's gaze, and asked a simple, direct question. He asked if he wanted to make love. Adrian's breath hitched. He argued that he was still recuperating. Leo's hand found his lips brushing Adrian's in a soft, sure kiss. He could help. Later, as the first hints of dawn lightened the sky, Adrian's embrace was a tender cage, his scent enveloping them both. The specialized air monitor in the corner beeped a soft, rhythmic, sensitive to the concentrated pheromones. Leo murmured that it was too much, he couldn't breathe. Adrian nuzzled his neck, asking, as he always did, if he liked how he smelled. A small, genuine smile touched Leo's lips. He said no. Then, placing Adrian's hand on the gentle swell of his stomach, he whispered that the opinion came from their child, not from him. Adrian laughed, a real, warm sound. He pressed a kiss to Leo's belly, playfully scolding the inhabitant for its poor taste. He brought his wrist to Leo's nose. He had to smell it. Sometimes he sighed, the old frustration creeping in. He truly hated that he couldn't share this with him. Leo caught his hand, pulling him down into a kiss that swallowed Adrian's next words. When they broke apart, Leo was breathless. He gasped that it was too much, that he had work soon. Adrian protested that he was already holding back. As Leo dressed, his movements efficient, he noticed a spot of red on Adrian's bandages. His expression hardened with concern. He sat him down and meticulously changed the dressing, his touch gentle but his words firm. He instructed him to be more careful. Adrian watched his concentrated face, full of a love so fierce it ached. He promised he would. Leo gave a single, satisfied nod and left for the day. Alone on the sofa, Adrian's mind drifted back again, to the bus stop in the rain, to the feel of Leo's hand in his, both of them damp and trembling for different reasons, to the stupid, brave ultimatum he'd blurted out, giving him one day to decide. His phone buzzed on the cushion beside him. A single message glowed on the screen. "Leo, will you pick me up tonight?" A slow, effortless smile spread across Adrian's face. He typed his reply. "Adrian, always,